Alright, in this video I'm going to make the Windows/Microsoft Copilot logo, and this is a reference image that I'm going to use in this tutorial. I'm just going to keep this right here and begin. Click right there on the rectangle tool. Let's make a rectangle. Let's give this a darker color, something like this, and let's give this a width of about 30. And my units are set to millimeters. But the units basically don't really matter. The only thing that matters is the ratio between the width and the height. Let's give this a height of about 55. Yeah, that right there looks pretty good. And then what I want to do is, with this selected, I'll come over to path, click on object to path, and I'll zoom in right here, press B to get the Bezier pen. And since this object now has nodes, right, we can now snap to these nodes. So I can click right here, hold Control, lock it onto the horizontal axis, click somewhere there, somewhere right about there, and then click right there and make that shape. Let's give this shape, actually that's way too small. That is way too small. Let's press N to get the nodes tool, and let's hold Control, move this on the horizontal axis, and click right there, move this on the vertical axis while holding Control. Do about that much. And that's still too small actually. I think something like that would work. Next what I want to do is I want to click on this object and duplicate that. Let's give that a different fill color. Let's expand it out and let's compress it, make it smaller. Let's reduce the height and let's lower that all the way to the bottom with this button. And let's change the height to about 20. Let's increase it to 22. Hopefully this will work. It might be too much, but yeah, that might be too much. Let's go to 20. Let's increase the width, pull this out to about that much, and press N to get the nodes tool, and I'm going to double click right there to add a node, and I'll select this node, hold Control, move this out, and I'll select this node and move this in a bit, and I guess I can also move this up a bit. So for now I'm going to go with that. One more thing I want to do is click on this shape, duplicate that, hold Control, move it down on the vertical axis, turn snapping on, and I'll zoom in and snap this right here. Now I want to click on this object, hold Shift, click on this rectangle, do a path and union, and then click on this one, hold Shift, click on this object, do a path and union. And next what I want to do is I want to smoothen the corners and add some radius to these corners as well. So for that I'm going to click on this red object and come over to the Path Effects menu. So I'll open this up, and if you don't have the Path Effects menu, come over to Path, click on Path Effects, and that will open up the Path Effects menu. Let's look for the corners path effect, and that's the first one, so click on that. And then you want to click right here, change only selected nodes, make sure this is checked. Press N to get the nodes tool, and let's select these two outer nodes, these two. Only select these two nodes, and then let's set the radius to about 30. Just to start, let's see how that looks. We need a radius bigger than that, so let's go to a value of about 40. No, let's go to a value of about 50. I think that's pretty good. But we will be making changes to this as we go. Let's select just this one corner node, just this one, and let's give this a radius value of about 20. That looks pretty good. And let's zoom in right here, select this node. Let's give this a radius value of about 20 as well. Okay, if it doesn't take effect, you can just like use these plus and minus buttons. Let's set that to 20. And let's do the same thing for this object. So with this selected, apply the corners path effect. Let's select this node, and again let's make sure change only selected nodes is checked, and let's give this a radius of about 20 as well. I think that will do the job. Although these two need to look the same, so we'll adjust this as we go. What I want to do next is I'm going to select this node right here, and let's give that a radius of about 20. And let's select this node. Let's give this a radius of about 50. Okay, that's too much. Let's actually give this a radius of about 20 as well. Okay, so I think I understand what's happening. We need to select both and do it together like this. And I think 20 is fine. 20 looks good. So let's keep it or leave it at that. We can also just move this node. But let's just keep it there. Let's keep it at that. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to select both the objects, come over to path, click on object to path. And then what I want to do next is simply delete this node. Select this node and move it down on the vertical axis while holding Control. Delete this node. And then I'm going to select this node and click right here to turn this into a symmetric node. And this will just allow us to make this path way smoother, much smoother. Let's take this handle and move it like this. Let's select this node and make sure this handle is locked onto the horizontal axis. So click right there, hold Control, lock it onto the horizontal axis, and you can simply adjust it to something like this so it looks smooth. Actually, I'm going to adjust it one more time. Let's move this node out, lower, let's shorten the length of this handle. Think that I like this. This looks pretty good. And we can actually just move this node in a bit as well. And actually now I have to adjust this again. The whole point with this logo is for these curves to be really smooth. Next, what I want to do is I'll click right there on this node and just pull it in. It doesn't really matter where you keep it as long as it's hidden. And then next, what I want to do is simply select this node, make sure this handle is locked onto the horizontal axis, which it is. Select this node, delete that, and let's just simply pull this in. Let's take this node and take this handle, move it in like this. Let's take this handle, move it in on the horizontal axis. This node is too far to the right. Let's move it to the left while holding Control. Okay, something like this. And let's shorten the length of this handle on the horizontal axis. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's snap this node here so that we don't get the space right here. And let's select this red object. Let's delete this node. Let's take this handle, hold Control, lock it onto the horizontal axis like this. And I think that right there looks pretty good. You can simply adjust this node if you want. And let's make sure that this is a smooth node. I mean a corner node. And let's adjust this like so. Something like this. Let's move this node, a little bit to the left. And let's take this node and move it up. Let's move it more. And let's just place it like that. That looks pretty good. And again, I'm going to do the same thing for all of these because these are pretty good, but they're not fully smooth. They're not exactly how this one is. So I'm just going to select both of these nodes click right here to add another node right in the center of these two nodes. And then what I want to do is click on this node or select this node, delete it, hold Control, click on this handle, lock it onto the vertical axis. Then select this node, hold Control, click on the handle, lock it onto the horizontal axis. And it looks pretty good actually. Now what I can do is simply take this handle and pull it down. Yeah, it looks pretty good. This is the same thing on this side. So first we delete the node, we lock this handle on the horizontal axis, and let's pull it back to about that much right there. It will snap right there on this bounding box. And then let's take this handle and move it up. And lastly, I want to select this node. With it selected, I'll click right here to turn this into a symmetrical node, just so both the handles are equal length, so the entire result is symmetric. And from there, if you want, this is completely optional, but if you want, you can make this smoother. So just double click, add a node here, and double click, add a node here, and select both of these nodes and delete them. And then you can simply just take this handle, move it in a bit, and take this handle, move it on the vertical and horizontal axis, of course. So while holding Control. And that will give you this nice smooth result. I guess I can adjust this a little bit more. That looks pretty good. And the shape is pretty much done. Next, I simply want to give it the right colors. So what I'll do is select this object and then come over to the Finish Stroke menu, click on the Linear Gradient option. On the Fill tab, click on the second stop and make sure the transparency is set to 100. And then press G to get the gradient tool. Let's take the stop and place it right here, and then hold Control, lock it to the vertical axis, place this other stop right there. And then I'm going to click on this stop, press D to get the dropper tool, click right there to select that color, and then press G to get the gradient tool, click right there, select that stop, press D to get the dropper, and select that color right there. And we actually need one more node right here, so let's just simply press G or come over to the Fill tab and then simply add another stop right in the center. I'm going to raise this up a bit. With it selected, we'll press D to get the dropper, click actually right there to give it that color. And now I can just simply adjust the placement of it. Place it somewhere there. Again, you can adjust this. I'm going to turn snapping off. You can adjust this however you want. But something like this should do the job for this tutorial. So let's select this object. Again, give that a linear gradient. Make sure this stop, the transparency is set to 100. Press G and let's take this stop, place it here, take this stop, place it in this corner. And then with this selected, press D, give it this dark color, and then press G, click right there. Again, with the dropper tool, let's give it that color. And that right there is what I'm looking for. What I'm going to do now is simply press Ctrl D and duplicate this object, flip that on the vertical and horizontal axis, and then just simply place it right there, but I'm going to turn snapping on and snap it right there. Pretty much right there is what I'm looking for. Yeah, right there is what I'm looking for. So going to simply adjust the colors for this one as well. And the colors are not fully accurate, but again, you guys can spend more time on this if you want to. I simply want to do the one last final thing. I'm going to press Ctrl G, select everything, press Ctrl G, group everything, and I'm going to come over to Object, click on Transform. This will open up the Transform menu, and here I'm going to move over to the Skew tab, and right here on the Horizontal Skewing option, I'm going to give this a skewing of -14 degrees. So make sure you select degrees from this drop down and set this value to -14. Let's click apply. And that's exactly what we're looking for, pretty much right there. And so that's it for this video. If you like this video, you may also like one of these. Thanks for watching.